Hello. Hi, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. It's 12:35. And so if you guys want to take your seats, and we've got our final speaker. Thank you. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you so much I hope you enjoyed your lunch. Just a quick announcement about the lack of paper towels in the restroom across the way. We did put a stack of napkins in there. So, so most of us have just been wiping our hands on our pants, but okay. Well, our next speaker is Hollis Brennan. Hollis Brennan is a licensed professional counselor who specializes in working with brain injury survivors and those living with chronic or terminal illnesses. Her work includes research publications, enacted Colorado state bills, speaking events, creating new therapeutic models to address changes in self identity after diagnosis. She works with survivors and their family members one on one to address their unique situation and needs. Hollis lives on a farm in Fruita and was born in Colorado Springs. So please join me in welcoming Hollis Brennan.
Is this okay? Good volume? Everybody can hear? Okay, fantastic. I gave some handouts to some folks, but I'll let them kind of work their way around if I missed anybody. Here's a stack. I know that post lunch I will be battling your blood sugar, so please take care of yourself if you need to stand up or if you fall asleep. I will not be offended. All right, and then our clicker is this guy. Let's see if I can do it. Maybe. Is it down arrow? Ha ha ha. Okay. So Phyllis introduced me wonderfully. I spend all day long talking to people about who they are. That means I also talk to them about who they were and hopefully get to talk to them about who they would like to be. So, I know we got to talk about relationships earlier, we got to talk about mental health. I'm going to talk about identity. We're going to start by listening to our body. If your body talked like a teenager, what would it say right now? Mine would say, I need a nap, and somehow it's also still way too early. Anybody have an idea what their teenage body would say? Anybody else? You're old, yes. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am? Yes, you should have known better. I think some of us should have also known better to wear jackets, but also 6 more layers just in case, right? Anybody else? Hey, dude, what's up? Anybody else? Okay. This is important for us to think about because a lot of our life starts to become other people telling us about ourselves. It's really important to remember you are the narrator of your own life. Your narrator can be a sassy teenager. You get to be in charge of who that is. So, talking about self doesn't live in one particular place in your brain. It's a bunch of places in your brain. It's also parts of your body. It's also things outside of your body. And the argument I want to make is that you have been changing your whole life. If you flash back and think about who you were when you were 25, as best as you can remember, what did you care about? What was your job? Go ahead. What did you care about? What was your job? What was your family like? What was important to you at that time? Anybody remember 25? Anything that felt really important at that time? Babies, yeah. Okay, now let's move to 50. What did you care about? What do you care about if you're there? Is it the same as when you were 25? Was your family different? Was your job different? Your friends different? We didn't have a funeral for that 25-year-old. We just became 50. And sure, there's parts of 25 we all miss. My knees really miss being 25. I can only imagine how your knees feel. But there's a lot of parts I don't miss about being 25, right? That's part of life. You have already been many, many versions of yourself. Who you are now is a new version of all of those former versions of you. So it's important to think about the stories that we're telling ourselves about ourselves. We are made of the stories that we tell. Something that I see a lot because I talk to a lot of people who experience pretty sudden changes in who they are and pretty unexpected changes in who they're becoming is an attachment to all the I used to's. I used to be able to do that thing. I used to be this. I used to have that job. I used to. That story builds you this nice haunted house where you get to walk around in all the rooms of used to's and you don't ever really get to be you. You're just building stories that you don't get to live anymore. And that doesn't mean those aren't important stories. Some of those identities will be with you forever, right? Parents, now grandparents, being a veteran. Maybe you used to be a school teacher. Those stories can still be true without building the entire you that is now. So our pictures here, right? We've got our lovely haunted house here of I used to's. My encouragement is that as you speak about yourself now, it's important to remember you still are. I am. You can have a wing of I used to's. It's okay to go visit that wing. But you also need to keep building places for you to live who you are now, right? Let's get to like having a mansion one day of who you are with maybe a little dust in the corner. That's totally fine. So, when I talk about this with folks who come into my office to have this conversation, we think about this in a couple of ways. Our like dorky tech way is thinking about an update to the software. Now we all have cell phones. We know that that cell phone stays the same, but sometimes makes us do an update to the software, right? You are an updated version of all the used to's. And that comes with some changes that maybe we don't love, but it also continues changing in the direction that we give it, meaning that all updates come with something great. That update isn't just a decline. That update isn't just taking away from me. Can you tell what your current update has? It's actually an advantage. Anybody? Slow has its benefits. Yeah. Say more. Yes. Man, multitasking is a myth, anyways, right? Doing one thing at a time, being where you actually are. Boy, people spend months and months out in the wilderness at some sort of retreat to try and realize that so they can do that for the rest of their lives. Anything else you know now is part of this new update? It's okay. This is a hard part. Also, it's a room full of people. It's hard to talk. Go ahead. Living in the moment. Yes. Living literally right here. There is no other moment to live in, actually. It's this moment, and this moment builds all those future moments. I saw him way back. Appreciating the wisdom. Yes. Oh my God, is this room full of wisdom and lives, and many, many lives y'all have lived. You're our respected elders in this community. You know things that people are going to take their whole life to learn. Incredible. Another thing to think about, we talked about how self doesn't live in like a special one part of our brain or even only our brain. It also lives outside of us. Your community is also part of who you are. I can't be a parent without kids. There's an external development of my identity. Our care partners in the room, you can't be a care partner without somebody to care for. So thinking about the community around you that you've cultivated over a long time, and I'm sure that's changed, that community is also part of your self-identity. And it lives outside of you, even through the changes that you go through. Anybody can think of a community that they belong to that's a really strong part of their identity? Any veterans in here? Couple. It's a pretty strong part of most people's identity. Anybody a teacher at any point in their life? Yeah. Lots of teachers. Parents? Grandparents? Those are all external parts of your identity that might be some of the strongest that your community is a part of building for you. Anybody have pets? Yeah. That little guy keeps you going sometimes. If you're a gardener, you have to have a garden. You can't just declare you're a gardener and sit inside watching TV about gardening. I don't think that counts. Maybe go back thinking now. Okay. So now we talk about the reality that most of you are already living in deeply, but maybe haven't put a lot of language to. This practice specifically comes from Buddhist psychology, but most religions and most philosophies address impermanence in some way. Impermanence is the fact that all things change, right? This is really helpful to remember when you're having a tough day, maybe lots of symptoms on that day. Remembering that that's not permanent, all things will change. Also, very important to remember, on a day you feel great, that too will change. And so you better be grateful and live in that moment. And sometimes you don't know which is which, right? Maybe this is a super symptomatic day. That might be the best you get for a while. So sitting in that and realizing the changes to come mean that where you are is still an okay place to be. And that doesn't mean we ignore what those symptoms are and pretend it's a sparkly day when it's not. But it does help you live in the moment, be exactly where you are, and figure out how to be grateful for that. So the 5 silhouettes we've got here are the 5 impermanent reminders. Number 1, because we are all human and made of human stuff, we're going to age. Just part of it. Number 2, because we are humans and we're made of human stuff, we're going to get sick. That's part of it. Because we are human, made of human stuff, there will be an end to us one day, and we will transition on to whatever's next, but we won't be here anymore. And because those things are true, they're not threats. I know that probably felt a little threatening. They're not threats, just a reality. There's going to be some distance that accrues between us and the people we love. And so if we can figure all of that out and live with it, we know what we're doing on the planet. every action we do, everything we say, the way we treat people, the way we treat ourselves, that's all that matters, because that's all that's left. Which means every moment you're in, thinking about what you're leaving starts with what you're doing right now. And you can't live in the I used to's and still create this legacy of who you are, right? We want a full lifetimes of who you are that we leave people behind us. So to make that a little bit more tangible, turn to a partner, preferably somebody you did not come with and don't talk to all the time, a new face, and talk about some of these thoughts. One thing that is still true about you today. One thing that has surprised you about yourself lately. A part of you that you would like to keep working on. Something that is important to you no matter what. And what your sense of humor is. Has it changed since you were 25, or is it still kind of the same? I find humor doesn't change as much as other parts of us. So find a human to talk to that you do not know, or at least don't live with all the time, and talk about these things. I'm going to yell out switch in about 4 minutes so both people get time to talk, and then we'll come back together. You do not need to share these things out loud, so go for it. Connect with people around you first. All right. If you're feeling really hooked in the conversation you have, it might be a great idea to exchange some contact information. When you're ready, work your way back. On the back of your sheet, you've got some bubbles if you want to fill out some thoughts, things to say, contact information of the people you're talking to. It's kind of the point of these things, right? You gotta walk away with something. Okay. Who noticed that some of these questions were pretty hard to answer? Yeah, it's normal. We don't spend a lot of time really thinking about who we are, even though we're still just being, right? Being who we are. All right. So these are those vague threats that are not really threats. These are just the ground rules of life. But if you can work on getting comfortable with these truths, it's going to help you stay in the present moment. It's going to help you be a lot more clear about those questions we were just talking about. And it's also going to help you build out that mansion of who you are rather than kind of getting stuck, right, in our haunted house. So, truth number one, right, your body will change. That change will include some decline. That's part of it. It's part of being a human. Number two, you're going to face illness. Lots of people in this room are like, yeah, duh. Number three, you're going to pass on. That's part of it. That's the end. We don't get to go on forever. Because of that, we're going to get some distance and we're going to get separated from people we care about. And so, your actions of body, mind, speech, life, again, the way you treat people, the way you treat yourself, is all we've got. That's the legacy you leave, right? And that means you got to really be clear on who you are and what you're doing here. You don't need to be perfect because you're going to go through all the top three. But being clear on while you go through those top three, that you're leaving a legacy of some sort. What is that? Who is that? Okay. So the second version of you, some of the things to think about, is you're probably building on firmer ground. This ground called reality. It may not be the most comfortable ground. In fact, I think we all probably got the same pamphlet about what our elder years was going to look like. We were going to have grandkids for sure. There's a beach involved somewhere. Slow mornings with coffee, surrounded by birds singing to us. You got that pamphlet too? That pamphlet skipped out on a couple things. And that's okay, but you're living in the reality of life. And when you're there, you can have a lot more in the moment experiences. You can be here. You will understand what life is. And again, this is something other people are hiking up mountains and meditating to figure out. You're probably doing a little bit less and being a lot more. You don't need to accomplish things. You did the accomplishing part. Now you get to be here. A lot less performing what health looks like. Most of us probably gave up our like triathlon careers and weightlifting careers and wearing tube tops when we go to the gym. We're past that era of health. Health means something very different to us now. Again, grounded in the reality of a body that's going to change. So, thinking about all of those adaptations that you've made, adaptation isn't bad. Adaptation is the practice of life. When your children became somebody that you were surprised at, or maybe raising some eyebrows at, and you adjusted to that to support them, that wasn't a bad thing. That was you changing, that was you adapting. As our eyesight got worse, we adapted, right? We got our glasses. Adaptation is life. It's how things keep going, and not just for us. When we adapt, our community adapts because we are community, right? It's part of who we are. And we leave those teachings, those legacies. And the more graceful we can do it, the easier it is on us. But it's okay to not be graceful about it. So, we'll go back one more. Maybe we'll go back one more. There we go. Okay. So if you are comfortable, we're going to do a practice together. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. If that feels weird in a room full of people you don't know, absolutely fair. You can stare between your toes with just sort of a soft gaze. So when you're ready, go ahead and let your eyes close. Look down. Take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. Start to imagine yourself 1 year from today, May 2027. This version of you is 1 year wiser. This version of you has also lived with Parkinson's in your life for 1 more year. They've come to accept some things. Not everything, but some things. As you think about this version of you, where are they? Are they inside? Are they outside? Is there someone there with them? Is there a pet? Notice what their life is like. Notice what they're doing. Notice what they've learned. Notice the way that they treat other people around them. Notice how they take care of themselves. Notice what makes them laugh, what brings them joy. And in your mind, when you're ready, ask that future version of you what they would like you to know. They might give you words, a feeling, or nothing. And that's all a message. When you're ready, breathe in slowly, breathe out slowly. Bring that message back with you to this room and slowly, gently let your eyes open. If you got a good message, go ahead and write it down or tell somebody so you don't lose it. Okay. Anybody get anything good? My future version of me is somehow sitting in a library full of books I don't own yet, so I better get buying. You will endure. Beautiful. Okay. Thank you. Take that with you, whatever it is. It's important. All right. The other thing, the brochure, the one that we all got, did not include is that all conditions come with a superpower. The very first time I met somebody with Parkinson's disease, I was little. I was like 8. This was a friend of my grandmother's. I thought they could hear music that I couldn't hear, and they were just vibing out. What a cool life. One of my favorites, now that I spend a lot of very personal time talking to folks who either have had a brain injury, live with Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, is this incredible ability to pull me into a story, stop telling me the story for a second because they forgot a word. But on my side, I'm like, oh my God, please tell me the rest of the story. Oh my God, the cliffhanger. Incredible. I would love to have your guys' attention like that. Amazing. Anybody think of a superpower Parkinson's gives you or has in your life? Determination. Yes, absolutely. What else? How about a get out of jail free card? Forgot our anniversary? Ooh, Parkinson's. Oh, your sister has that dinner thing? Oh, I'm going to be sick that day for sure. Anything else you can think of? Or that you've noticed for the people you live with? You spend time with? Present moment's a good one. Milkshakes without a blender. Brilliant. We should open our own milkshake shop. Okay. So these takeaways are on your sheet as well. So please don't feel pressure to like write everything down. These slides are available as well. But hopefully the things that you're thinking about is you are not permanent. You never have been. You've been changing your whole life. If you can accept that you've been changing, You're going to have to accept that you will continue changing. And those changes come with adaptations, determination, the ability to know what matters, the ability to be present, the ability to make milkshakes. That version of you that you're walking into or that you are now is not a downgrade. This is part of life. And your body's going to keep changing. Again, not a tragedy, just the way that it is. Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for your participation. It makes my life easier and me less nervous. So I'll open it up in case anybody has questions, but please don't feel pressured. I'll hang out if you'd rather just ask one-on-one. That's okay too. Phyllis said, raise your hand if you have a question. She'll bring you the mic. It was the best presentation ever. There's no questions. I solved all the problems. We're done here. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Hollis. That was a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much.